Ko te kai whakahaere o te wharihupa, ko Karen Holland tōku ingoa. Good evening everyone, my name's Karen Holland and I'm the manager at the Soup Kitchen, at the Compassion Soup Kitchen. I've been asked tonight to speak about rough sleepers. I'm blessed in that I have never experienced being homeless nor have I had to sleep rough. However, recently at the Compassion Soup Kitchen, we led a project called Te Hā Tangata, a human library, where our taonga, the members of the Soup Kitchen community who have experienced housing deprivation, had the opportunity to tell their story. A project that recognised that our homeless community is often talked about, but not listened to. Hearing people speak about the trauma and impact of losing their home was challenging, moving, and enlightening. Whatever your attitude to the issue of housing deprivation was before listening to those stories, whatever you thought you knew was changed. Some taonga spoke of the drivers to finding themselves homeless. Here are Alpha's words. I had a roofing contract business till I fell off the roof and broke my back. I was sick for well over a year. Well, I still suffer from the pain, but it wasn't just my back. Everything broke after that. I lost my house, my marriage. I was a mess. And I lived on the street for 2 years before I could get my place. The taonga shared stories about the daily grind of judgment and rejection they face as they try to come to terms with the reality of having no home. They wrote poetry and they sung about their personal experiences. Here are Bravo's words. I remember the first night I found myself on the street. I stood in the doorway as it was getting later and later. I had nowhere to go and I was thinking, how did this happen to me? I won't say the word. How did this happen to me? What am I going to do now? Just then some guys across the street said, hey bro, do you want a drink? They accepted me without question. I found a home there that night on the street. Now listen to Charlie's words. I get yelled at. I get told to get a job and people make assumptions about me. This is a poem that Charlie wrote. Just because I'm scruffy and smell sometimes like I haven't had a shower for a while doesn't mean I'm any less human than you. It doesn't mean I'm a freak and it doesn't mean I'm a psycho. Just because I may appear a little different doesn't mean you have the right to judge, and it doesn't mean you have the right to discriminate, and it doesn't mean you have the right to take advantage. Taonga spoke of being housed now, but still feeling homeless, because at any moment they may lose their house. Many talked openly about feeling that their home was actually on the streets. The striking part for me of each story was the intensity with which they conveyed to us that housing is more than bricks and mortar. It's not just about having shelter, it's about having a home. Taonga told us that having a home means I am safe, I belong, I'm appreciated, and I'm part of a community. I can take care of my whānau, I have hope and a vision for the future. Yes, bricks and mortar provide shelter, but it cannot meet the spiritual and psychological needs of people. If we simply think of housing as shelter, then we're missing a critical point. If I'm wrong, then why is it that some of our most long-term and recidivist rough sleepers keep returning to the street in spite of the intense and ongoing work of experienced professionals in the sector? It's because they're looking for human and spiritual connection, needs not necessarily met within four walls of a house. They return to the street because that's where their whānau is, where they find acceptance, companionship and community. In Delta's words, I might be housed, have been for a while, but I'm still a streetie. I share my place with them sometimes when things get really bad. They are my whānau and my community. Echo wrote a poem and she said, "I kept on walking, hitching a ride, trying to find my place. Locked in a cycle, moving over and over, passing past, stepping forward, running madly, not thinking, just looking for my home. The only place I know I've found love, can you believe it? Of all things, to find aroha behind cell walls." The voices of our taonga drew me to the principles of Catholic social teaching. If we as a community make judgments and decisions about challenging issues, but fail to involve those most affected by those decisions, our solutions will fail to make real and lasting changes. The voices of the people who have found themselves homeless must be reflected in any of the policies or solutions to the issue of housing deprivation. I realise this represents a shift towards acknowledging that those who live without housing are the experts on what it is to be housing deprived. One last challenge from Foxtrot. Come out to the streets for a week and see how we live. Be homeless for a week. Leave all your nice comforts behind. Shower included, bed included, and experience how we live life. For 1 week, maybe, just maybe, you might have a bit more humbleness.